Alright, hey guys, today we're going to talk about cover 6 match zone coverage. So that's the type of defensive coverage you can play. The first thing we're going to talk about today is the alignment, or we'll actually start with the basic idea of how you play cover 6 match zone, right? So what you need to understand this scheme is that you're basically going to be playing man on half the field. On half of the field, you're going to be playing man coverage, right? On the other half, you're going to be playing a kind of zone coverage. And that whole thing, both the man and the zone, is going to be played through a zone alignment. Okay, and we're going to get into what that means pretty soon. So there's two parts to this, right? It's cover 6 and match zone. So in cover 6, so we're going to focus on the cover 6 part of it to start. So in cover 6, well, let's draw up our offense here. So let's say quarterback. Let's say running back's outside here. You got the center, guard, tackle. You got 5 linemen in. And let's go 2 by 2 because it's simple. All right. And then let's set up the defense. We're going to have corner, Mike, let's say Sam. Yeah, let's switch the backer and let's put the Will here. We'll put Sam on the left. I want to switch the backer to out here. Now, and we got our safeties are strong, right? So we also have our 3 guys in here, or 4 guys in here. All right, so we got our safeties, corners, our backers, and our linemen, both sides. Our receivers, quarterback, and our running back. Nice. So first thing, like I said, we're going to focus on is cover 6 of the cover 6 match zone. So what cover 6 means is that on the short side of the field, so depending on what hash the play is occurring on, right? That hash to the sideline is going to be the short side of the field. So let's say this is occurring on the right hash, right? If it's going to be on the right-hand side hash, that means the right side is going to be the short side of the field because it's on the right hash, right? So you got your, we'll just make hashes here. Oh, it's probably better to do this, yeah. So that's our hashes. Okay, so yeah, let's say this is happening on the right hash. If it's happening on the right hash, that means the right side of the field is going to be the short side of the field because you're closer to the sideline here, right? On the left side, you're going to have more space. So that's the first thing you want to establish. Cover 6 is only going to work if you understand, to understand cover 6, you got to understand the short side, and I guess you could call it the far side of the field. Anyways, on the short side of the field, which is the thinner side, right? You're gonna understand that depending on which hash mark the ball is placed on, the right or the left, right? On that short side, you're gonna have cover 2 principles, which means the corner is going to play the flat, right? So we got corner, he's going to play the flat, so it's pretty much this zone right here. All right, you can creep down a bit. Then again, following cover 2 principles, the linebacker is going to drop to the inside zone. So he's going to drop to the curl flat, if you're the will, right? So you're going to work through the curl to the flat. And Mike is going to stay on the inside zone here as well. He's going to work from the curl, or from the hook to the curl. So cover 2 principle is pretty simple, right? Cornerback's going to hit the flat. The will linebacker, the weak side linebacker, right? Because there's more people on the left. This is the stronger side of the formation. So this guy is going to be called the weak linebacker. This is our will. He's going to be in his zone there. So that's cover 2 principles, again, on the short side of the field. And then, of course, you got the free safety who's going to drop off for the deep ball. On that side, right? So you got your will, you got your corner, you got your free safety playing cover 2 principles, right? Corner having the flat, the will having the inside zone there, and the free safety dropping out for the deep ball. The will, just one quick tip, the will is probably going to drop to about 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, so it's probably around the first down marker. That's probably where he wants to stand, right? Just a quick tip there. Now, we move to the wide side. This is still the cover 6 part of cover 6 match zone, right? I'm still talking about a cover 6, right? We're dividing it up into two sections, cover 6 and match zone. I'm talking about cover 6, short side of the field, again, determined by which hash you're on. You're going to play cover 2 principles. Corner has the flat outside here. Will has the inside zone. Free safety is going back deep, all right? On the wide side, or you can say far side, there's going to be cover 4 principles. So what's going to happen is the cornerback, and this is setting the foundation for what everyone you think is going to do, right? So you got cover 4 principles on this side of the field, right? On the far side. So what that means is that the cornerback, he's going to go to the flat, right? Then you also have the linebacker is going to have the inside zone. So we're going to actually, I'm sorry guys, I made a mistake. I made a small, well, not that small a mistake, right? So we're going to take these labels off these guys. Not going to have a 2 safety look. We're going to have 3 safeties. All right. And we're going to play a 2-backer look. So we're going to have these guys here. So we'll just put a backer here. So he's still going to have the inside zone, though. There's, instead of 3, there's going to be 2 backers. So everything I said here still, it still holds true. This backer is going to be, hooking into his inside zone there. Again, like I said, cornerback's hitting the flat. So far, everything stays the same. I just added a 3rd safety, swapping him in for one of my linebackers. Then, moving on, continuing with cover 4 principles on the far side, right? Far side. One of the safeties, he's going to have deep outside. So far, it looks the same on both sides, right? Corners have the flats, the backers have the inside zones. They might have to cover a bit more since instead of 3, there's 2 of them. So they might have to, be able to run a bit more. And the safeties are dropping out deep, right? So they're going to flare. So now you might be asking, what's going to happen with the 3rd safety? The 3rd safety is actually, he's going to cover this hole. So right now, it actually seems, except for the mic that would be here, it seems like it's pretty much cover 2 all the way. But because we don't have that mic, we're going to instead put in the safety to cover the weakness of the cover 2, which is going to be this inside hole. So this safety is dropping far, he's dropping deep outside. This safety is going to drop deep inside. So now we've got our 4 zones here. We got to make sure we understand this, right? We got cover 2 on this side, right? Normal cover 2. Backer has the inside zone, corner has the flat, safety's dropping deep, he's going to bail, right? Here, the far side, that was the short side, the far side of the field is going to have cover 4 principles. So that means corner has the flat, the backer has the inside, and we're going to have a safety going deep outside, and we're going to have a 2nd safety going deep inside. So that's 4 zones. We understand that, right? Cover 4. cover 4 principles there. So that's what it's going to look like, at least to maybe the quarterback post snap. He gets the snap, he's going to see that happening. He thinks that it's completely zone coverage, and that goes along with what I said in the beginning of the video. You're going to basically play zone on half the field, man on the other half through a whole zone alignment. So you see right here, this is the whole zone alignment. We're going to play zone on the cover 2 side of the field, on the near side. That's where we're going to play zone. And that last part that I just talked about, playing man on the other half of the field, is going to be in this cover 4 area on the far side of the field, right? On the wide side. So now that we understand what everyone seems to be doing or looks like they will be doing, we're going to move on to the match part of this this scheme. So cover 6 zone match, or cover 6 match zone, right? However you want to say it. We just talked about cover 6, right? You can understand cover 2 principles here, cover 4, that's 6, cover 6. Now we're moving on to what match means, right? So the match part of the scheme, match basically means a hybrid of man and zone. So what that means is, at least in cover 6, match is played on the wide side, like I just talked about, right? This is going to be our area where we play match. To play match, teams are usually going to use a box technique. So that's what you want to do when you're playing match on this side of the field. What do I mean by a box technique? Well, maybe you're thinking a bit ahead and you see, 4 zones, the 2 safeties, the backer and the corner, that's 4 zones, and you're talking about a box. Each of them seem maybe, to kind of have a corner. If you can imagine a box here, even I know this is not the zone, but you get the idea. And you have a box, right? This is actually going to be their zones, but you get the idea. So let's continue with this idea of a box technique. What does a box technique mean? Or more specifically, what does a defender do when he is playing the box technique, right? What's going to happen with the box technique is that each player is going to play the first receiver coming into their box. So it's not just, just plain old zone coverage. And it's not just man coverage, whoever you're maybe lined up across, right? It's not like that. What's going to happen is the first receiver coming into their box. So what that means is that if, let's say this backer is a bit more inside, this guy, he's a bit more inside, right? Maybe there's a gap here between the zones. If this receiver, this number 2, again, we count from the outside in, right? So this is number 1 receiver on the strong side. This is going to be number 3, right? Let's say number 1, well, let's focus on number 2 first. Let's say number 2 goes through this gash. Well, might be a bit confusing, so let's erase the box that I've kind of drawn with weird dotted lines. Let's erase that. So they're to reiterate, they're going to play the first receiver into their box. And you can imagine on a football field, kind of wide, so there's going to be gaps between certain zones. If this guy runs, number 2 runs, post. If that's his route, right there, right? Post route, the safety's going to get him because he's going into his zone. Well, probably better to see it this way, right? Okay, so yeah, let's say this post goes inside, the safety's got him right there. Let's say number 1, he runs a quick hitch, right? On the outside. That's going to be the corner's responsibility. Now, what if he doesn't even touch the corner? He doesn't even really get into his zone that much. Doesn't look like he's even going to stop. he goes straight up into that zone. He runs maybe some people call it a bench route or a corner route. That's going to be that safety's responsibility. Maybe this guy, and if you have good communication on the back end here, you can, even in the box technique, you can let that guy go. If he's going into one of your other teammates' areas, one of their zones, you can let that guy go in behind. So let's say he does, let's say number one, he runs an inside breaking route. So let's say he goes through the corner zone, right? But then he goes inside, cuts under, right? That's going to be, right here, it's a levels concept, right? You're going high level, you're going intermediate level. It's called levels concept. This guy, if the corner has good communication, he can pass it off to his backer, and the backer's going to have him there. So that's how you play the box technique. Usually it's going to be the first guy into your zone. And you might be pretty confused, because what if you run through someone's zone? Like, what if you don't have good communication? All that is usually cleared up by the release. So if number two, he maybe, it's easy to just erase the whole thing. Let's say number two, this guy right here, he runs into the flat, so he just goes whoop, right? That release is going to be completely out. It's going to be immediately to the outside. He's running out to the flat. This backer doesn't have to be worried about anyone coming into his zone. Even though he's directly lined up opposite him, you might think that number two, to get anywhere, would have to go through the backer zone. Not true. You can go in between zones. One, eventually you're going to run into somebody's. Someone's going to pick you up. But that is how you play cover 6 match. So this is still going to be cover 2 principles. Here, you think it's zone, but the kicker, the strength of this, the point of this, I should say, is to deceive the quarterback. Looks like zone. The minute you get the releases, right, and the defenders drop into their zones, it turns into man. Because you play man coverage on the first guy into your zone. So that's how it would work. Again, the cornerback would have, it should be obvious by the way it looks, but the cornerback would have the low outside release. The backer would have the low inside release, so he would get the low inside one. The safety, he would have the high outside release. The outside safety, he's going to have the high outside release, right? So let's say this guy, he doesn't break till up here. That's how you know this safety's got him. Because if he doesn't break and he gets past the corners and the backer, or the corner and the backer, that means it's not going to be their responsibility. Because if he hasn't broken his route either inwards or to the sideline, to the corner, that means he's not going to be in their area. They're not really going to be responsible for his route. That means he's gone past them. So obviously, if he hasn't broken before he reaches any of these guys' zones, that means he's going to be one of these guys' responsibilities. If he goes outside, it's the high outside release. You see, this is high outside, obviously, right? And vice versa. If he goes inside, high inside release is going to be the other safety's responsibility. Yeah. Usually the releases of the receivers are going to be the tell for which guy you got to play man on if you're playing the box technique on your side of the field. That's how cover 6 match works. I'm trying to think of an example. So maybe you guys, if you guys want to take a deeper look at it, you can you can look it up maybe in an NFL game, see the results, how it was played, and it's pretty cool to actually see it at the pro level, right? Because then you know guys are doing like these types of schemes at the professional level, and it's working, right? And it's working. So if it's working at the professional level, you know that, I mean, it's a pretty solid scheme that's been in place for a while. So I'm trying to think of an example. I think if you go back to look up the tape for Chargers Steelers, I want to say, I forget which week it was. Man, I want to say it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, so that's got to be, that's 2018. It was in Pittsburgh, I know that. I'm pretty sure the Chargers played cover 6 match pretty heavily that game. It was a pretty important game. It wasn't early on in the season. I'm pretty sure it was later on. Might have been in weeks that might be double-digit numbers, so 10 onwards. I feel maybe week 9. I have a feeling it might be week 9. I'm unsure, guys, but that's I know for a fact that game is a pretty good example of how to play cover 6 match, and it worked pretty well for the Chargers. So, or now that I come to think of it, I'm pretty sure the Steelers, because they had success with it against Keenan Allen. So I'm pretty sure the Steelers played cover 6 match against the Chargers in Pittsburgh in an important game. I'm pretty sure it was a primetime game too, Sunday night. I want to say it's Sunday Night Football. Steelers played and they had pretty good success with it against the Chargers offense, Keenan Allen, Phillip Rivers. Those guys, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Melvin Gordon, some pretty big names, and the defensive strategy worked. Yes, I think that's a pretty good example of it. If you want to go check it out, you can look up that game, try to find some highlights of it, and maybe you can pause the tape too. You can see at certain points where this cover 6 match zone was played. That alignment where they drop into the 4 zones, it happens. And you got receivers like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and they're pretty refined route runners. And the box technique does not fail for Pittsburgh in that game. It works pretty well for them, and I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh ends up winning that game actually too. I want to say that they do. But yeah, that was a pretty good example of it. And now you guys know, cover 6 match. Again, basically you play man on half of the field and zone on the other half through a whole zone alignment. Box technique is first guy in your zone. Can be determined, it's usually determined through the releases, high outside, high inside, low outside releases. And in terms of the principles, again, it all starts with the hash mark, right? The right hash mark, you're on the near side. That means the right hash, the sideline is going to be the near side. You're playing cover 2 principles. Right here, you're playing cover 4 on the far side. That's how you get cover 6. And you play box technique on the far side. In cover 6 match, you always play box technique on the far side. That's how you know which side of the field to play it on. Obviously, it's wider too, so you're going to probably want more guys on that side, logically, right? You got 2 safeties, or you got 3 total. Where do you want to spend your extra safety? Probably on the wider side because there's more room for the offense to attack, right? More field. That's it for this video, guys. I'll probably start coming out with a few more videos more quickly, so we have a higher rate of production. But that's it for now, guys. See you guys in the next video.